Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Well, I decided to go up tonight because Mr. T is going to be accepting his nomination if all goes well. I've got my fingers crossed, my head on a swivel, and you never know what's going to happen. Things are getting very crazy. A lot of different historic events are happening at the same time, and events are moving fast, and different entities are trying to decide how to have events unfold in such a way as it benefits them the most. And we'll see how it goes. But I figured I'd come up tonight because if Mr. T gives a speech that goes well into the night, I won't be able to broadcast tomorrow. So we'll have to talk about the results of his acceptance speech Friday. But you never know if it is a cage rattler or something really needs to be discussed. I may go live tomorrow, but if you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, you'll know when I go live. And if you think about it, when you come in, give me a thumbs up, and if you don't like what I'm saying, give me a thumbs down. Okay, and I'll better than a poke in the eye, right? With a sharp stick. Ha ha ha. But anyway, this investigation and public interest in this situation with Mr. T is at an all-time historic high. And people are starting to learn more and more dirty business. Hi, Roland. Hi, Benjamin. Wayne. Sherry. Finding Dory. How are you doing? Damon. Gloria. Raven's Wings. Melinda. Sissy's here. Tracy's here. Time to drop the hammer. They're dropping hammer on Joe. He got all upset. Is Harris going to name Schumer? Boy, that's no. You know, they are in a quandary. They really are. The question mark is Kamala, and the writing's on the wall for Joe. And I put on my thumbnail, the party's over. And I don't mean this party of him being president and party, but I'm talking about the Democratic Party, okay? I'm talking about the New World Order Party, okay? That party's over. Our party is beginning. Freedom Party, okay? Not a new political party, but just anybody who wants to live under the principles of the Constitution and our founding documents. That's our party starting, okay? Keep in mind the term. In the future, you will hear Constitutional Convention, okay? A Constitutional Convention of the states. Something that will be happening. So, let's see. Well, Debo, how you doing? Wanda, nice to see you. Renee from Sulphur, Oklahoma. Nice to have you with us. But wow, video after video popping up with this. It's such a shame I have to watch my words and spell words. I got a warning today for a comment. And after Doug TeNapel get nuked out of the blue, hadn't heard anything about strikes, hadn't heard anything about warnings, just gone. All his videos gone. So, and please keep in mind that I have to upload to Bumble afterwards, so that adds an extra hour to my endeavors. Thank you for not cooperating with Bumble anymore. You tizzle. Thanks a lot. But anyway, used to be just automatically synchronized. Em, how you doing? Yvonne, nice to see you. So, did you all see the short video clip about Victoria Nuland? He's in the hospital, Sissy. I just saw a ABC News clip of Biden. And they asked, he was walking to his vehicle and they asked him how he felt. He said he felt fine. And then they said, it was either ABC or CBS, one of the big shots. And they said, then Biden walked very gingerly to his vehicle and very slowly got in. I mean, they're really bringing it out there that he is acting every bit of the part of a octogenarian in poor health. So we will see. I didn't know he was in the hospital. Rumble wiped out last night, Wanda says. Hospital, he has COVID now. The hospital has COVID now? I don't understand. But anyway, so I guess a lot of you all have heard about this counter sniper that worked for the state police. His last name is Willis, first name Jonathan. They, without confirmation, I'm just saying what is the word on the street, is that he is claimed to have claimed. Boy, ain't that something. You know, you got to watch what you're hearing, how you're processing it. It is claimed that he has claimed that they told him to hold off, and that he went ahead and took the pot shot at the end. Everybody is saying that the last shot that you hear is the one ending him, and that there were possibly up to 3 different weapons being fired. So, and they said, well, since he disobeyed orders, he's fired. So, we'll get some confirmation on that story, and that he's not backing down. What he needs to do is get protection. So even Fox News put out a story and a news report that were saying all these instances, the fact that it turned out it was false. There was no team assigned to the inside of that building. No team assigned to the inside of the building. They fibbed and said there was. We know they couldn't go on the roof because it's just too dangerous up there, steep roof. So they fibbed. And what everything is pointing to is willful negligence. Willful negligence, that's the term that's being bandied about, and similar terms, namely a setup. They tried to set him up. And what's the word we use that not a lot of people use, that they used in the Trump trial toward the end? What is that word? And it is a crime under the laws of war. Does anybody know that word? I'm sure some people know the word. What some people are going to be charged with. And there you go, Roland. Perfidy. So, among other things, so we have this panic. They can't, oh my God, what if they lose power and people get in there and they start getting into internal comms? And what if somebody starts snitching? Are people going to, what was it that Kamala put up a number for? The you know what aside hotline. Are there people going to be, you know what aside? That's what happens when somebody knows about something and they're afraid they're going to talk. For some reason, they decide life's not worth living, at least according to Hillary. But you had Joe. While this stuff was going on, Megyn Kelly put out a video where she was reading some leaked notes concerning a phone call, several phone calls with Joe Biden and Democrat leadership, where Joe Biden blew a cork and started yelling. Then before that, he was at what was an NAACP speech, and was an old man yelling at clouds. We got so much right down the line. Let me tell you, democracy itself, and the most important thing is, well, anyway. So he went from that to a phone call where he got very defensive and angry and yelling, and the word on the street was that they could barely understand his gibberish, his angry gibberish. Now they're saying that he is open to ideas. That was after he told Lester Holt, well, a doctor tells me something wrong with me, I wouldn't run. He lowered it from the good Lord himself coming down to if a doctor came and told me, right? So then I don't know how many times the minute hand went around the clock, not too many times. Biden's got COVID. I saw a meme and I got a screenshot of it, and I'll put it up next time I do a picture show, where somebody with all this gadgets and garbage on their heads, face mask, a plastic shield, and needles sticking out of them, and their eyeballs big around as coffee cups, saying Trump is exaggerating his ear injury. The message is a total disaster no matter which way they turn. If they focus on Trump assassination, they can't control themselves. That's why they took Mika and Joe down. Oh, they're going to quit next time it happens. Good, quit. But they can't control themselves. You see videos of it, man on the street videos, where they say the most vile things. I might get a screenshot of that. It makes me so mad though when I hear it. Talking about it's a shame he missed, and or the real gross notion that it was all staged, no regard for Corey. One of them said, the interviewer said, well, what about the guy who lost his life in the stands? He was a good man, a firefighter. And this liberal said, oh, Trump doesn't care. As long as you got to put on a good show, that guy's life meant nothing to Trump, because that's the way Trump is. Just a disgusting individual. And I want to say, people with employees, if you got them and you're on the edge about them, you say, I don't know if I should keep this person on. I hate somebody lose a job. Well, if you're at that point and then you find out they're putting out stuff wishing bodily harm on Trump or his family, there's your decision right there. There's your decision. Even if they're a semi-good employee. Gone. Get rid of them. You don't need people like that in your life. So they're showing themselves. But this Victoria Nuland, they call it the rain speech. And it's already over on Russian news, which is where I got that clean video. Not fuzzy, not broken up. Clean video of the guy doing little porpoise dive moves on the roof and heading up the roof, and people talking. You can hear him real good. Now, it's plenty of places getting out. People got copies of it. Where did I get my clean copy? Now everybody else has got a clean copy, not off me, but probably the same place I got mine. Russian television. Ain't that something? But you try to get it off the controlled media here. You can't get the volume right. It's pixels are all moving around. It's hard to see, hard to hear. So more and more videos, the videos of the Secret Service agents behind the stands just before just before you hear boom, boom. So anyway, Victoria Nuland, her little speech, she said, well, if Putin is counting on Donald Trump, I'm paraphrasing. I think I have a screenshot of the part of it. If that's what Putin's betting on, he's going to get a unhappy surprise. If this was just a couple of days before the attempt, she predicted Putin was going to have an unhappy surprise if he was thinking Donald Trump would be the next president. And don't forget, Victoria Nuland is up to her rear end. No, she's up to her chin in two things. Knowledge about the BIO labs in Ukraine, one. Two, about what happened to the Nord Stream pipeline. An international terrorist act. Now she's mouthing off, all confident, that Putin's going to be very unhappy, get an unhappy surprise. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that. Now, the news is coming out with this supposed oddball loner, right? Didn't have any social media. Nobody can find anything. It looks like he's just operating all by himself, don't you know? On top of all the other junk we've learned, I think it was ABC News put out a report that said they found where he had searched for images of Donald Trump, and they tossed in images of Joe Biden. What? And he also Googled how to treat depression. I'm depressed and I don't know what Trump looks like. I need a refresher. And I'm also so thinking about Biden too. Let me take a look. What does he look like? I don't know what Biden looks like. Well, how did he do that if he didn't have any social media presence? He didn't have a Google account or nothing. Oh, he went to the library, maybe? I don't know. But then the FBI comes out with a report. They found that he was doing extensive communications on encrypted apps. Remember I mentioned that? Encryption. I mentioned that Snapchat and Signal. We discussed that well over a year ago when the fires in California were started. And 3 or 4 years ago, the Signal app was mentioned by the 17th letter as to how they communicate. So he could communicate to what? Get gift cards when he showed up, to disturb events or do whatever. You know, you guys know what I'm talking about. The gift card payments. Are we going to find out? I think we will. Then his classmate comes out. His classmate comes out and says he couldn't stand Trump. He wasn't a Republican for Trump. So that blows their narrative out of the water that he was a Republican. It blows their narrative out of the water that he didn't have a social media presence or very little communication via computer. Turns out he does. Yeah, Miss Mindersu, that's what they're saying. They're saying it could be imminent. Joe Biden dropping out could be imminent. Well, that will give the news organizations an excuse to spend all their time talking about the Joe Biden drama, which we've been talking about for 5 years, that his brain is fried. You get people like Richard Steele saying, what's the real story with Trump's ear? Does he need stitches? Nobody's given us a report. Did it blow his entire ear off in just a little piece? These are questions that need to be answered. What about Biden's brain? Okay, asking all these questions about Trump's ear when we've been screaming from the rooftops that Biden's brain is gone. But now, when Trump is going to have a crowning moment, first time speaking publicly since the attempt, and to accept the Republican nomination with a historic level of approval. Oh, we'll replace the story about Biden stepping down. They'll pull the rug out of coverage about the attempt on Trump, right? Bright, shiny things. Biden said he was transitional. He was only going to be there one term. They knew this was coming. Biden wants it to be this way. They're using it to wipe out the news cycle. And they still got another big event that can deflect from the news. Do y'all remember what that is? I don't know. I bet T-Man already knows who. Oh, yeah. Or they orchestrated, right? Marcel, how you doing? Somebody I missed. I saw a name out. Somebody said hello and then they're gone. Huh. Well, whoever you were, I can't remember, but thanks for stopping in. I hope your comment didn't get taken down. Mine got taken down today and I got a warning. But anyway, what's the event that's going to happen that they got in their back pocket that'll clog up the news? Melinda got it. Jimmy Carter. Ivan. No, it's just me babbling about how the whole house of cards is coming down. And how they are trying to throw a wet blanket on Trump's triumph tomorrow. And how Trump will present himself. Oh, Benjamin, there you are. Nice to see you. I never know somebody gets stuff taken down, but Utizzle will take down stuff sometimes. But they want to throw a wet blanket on it, but there are going to be people watching that never paid attention before. If somebody just didn't like him, I don't mean the real rabid lunatics. I'm talking the average person who had a steady diet, for 8 years, a constant drumbeat about Trump, negative, 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 negative. They're still going to want to watch him, okay? Because they haven't instilled it in their hearts. They just don't like him in their minds, but their hearts are still open. Anybody's would be of a normal person to see him grab his ears quickly and know that it sends a chill up my back just thinking about that instant. What were the words he was saying seconds before the bullet flew past his head? Dangerous people. Dangerous, evil people coming in. You replay some of that video I played last night. Yeah, be careful with your comments. All right, Benjamin. And yeah, be careful because I got one taken down. And I did say somebody was fat. I should have done just like Mr. T said. Don't say Chris Christie is fat. Don't say he's a fat pig. So we won't say he's a fat pig. And so I should have said, I'm not saying you're fat, but I didn't. I didn't take Mr. T's advice. And I might as well tell you all about that real quick. It was some guy, morbidly obese, who has a channel where he acts like he's a country boy. He's just a country boy. Like I said, these phony Democrats acting like they're just go boys from Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, all these places. Don't y'all know that we really liberals? It's a show. So he goes on there with no shirt on, okay? The back of his neck probably looks like a pack of hot dogs. Hadn't shaved. Hi, y'all. I want to tell y'all how much I love Trump. I love Trump. I'd jump off a building to my demise. I love him so much. And then he goes on saying all we care about, and he blends his words to say misogynists, racists, homophobes, on and on he goes. And the comments coming in saying, that's the way they are. That's the way MAGA is. So I said, well, let me put a comment in here. And I did. Let me find it. I'll read it to you. Here we go. I said, looks more like a fat ignoramus, probably in diapers with a bag of Cheetos and a box of Ho-Hos off screen, taking a break from oogling still shots from CUTIES. Okay? Remember that movie, CUT? Real cute movie, Ease? Attempting to mock people with actual jobs. And then I put in parentheses, what happens in mom's basement stays in mom's basement, with a laughy face. To show you how quick the rhythm is, the rhythm within minutes. Minutes. Can't take a damn joke, but I didn't even do that. So anyway, I'm finished putting comments in because they're headhunting. And be careful with your comments in the stream. Always remember to use, hi Angel, how you doing? Use vowels, numbers for vowels, right? So anyway, what did we find out about this guy so far? This loner, this oddball. We saw the commercial he was in for the rock that is black, okay? Very odd. How does somebody 18 years old? Okay. So anyway, then we find out he also had a bicycle on scene with a backpack. I got a picture of that. Put it up on the next picture show. The van he had parked a ways away that had his little BOMBs in them had Arizona tags. But then you also hear he had a white Hyundai. Oh my goodness. That's what his parents were talking about. He was wandering around for a half an hour on radar. Fox News, when they brought up terms like willful negligence, brought up the fact that it's documented that he went from somebody to keep an eye on to being designated as a threat at least 10 minutes before Trump came on the stage. Protocol would be when there's a threat present, a designated threat, that the protectee does not come out, okay, until that threat is resolved, okay? Either found out, okay, we were wrong, it's really not a threat, or this person's a threat and we contained them, arrested them, or whatever, you know? But they didn't do anything for 10 minutes, and they let Trump walk out there with a designated threat at large. That, and we'll keep on going with how many things the average person, all these people that have been to multiple rallies. Somebody had in the chats last night, I'm sorry I can't remember the name, they have a friend who's a vendor that goes to Trump rallies. Also, people being interviewed on Fox and CNN and MSNBC saying we've been to many rallies. We noticed right off the bat that things were off, that things were not nearly at the level of protection Trump always gets. So then we find out, we know, we talked about it. He looked at the magnetometer. That's when they said, keep an eye on him. He's suspect. Watch him. He shied away from the magnetometer, acted weird, had some kind of package with him. I don't believe he had the backpack at that time, but they say he had the rifle at one point in a blanket, stashed it somewhere. Using a rangefinder? Anybody that's ever handled weapons or done target shooting or had any police training or even was kind of serious about their golf knows what a rangefinder is. He saw the counter sniper eyeball to eyeball looking back at him. That's when he was on the roof. Now, there's some people saying when he was on the roof and he first got in the sights of the sniper that they were trying to figure out, is that a good guy? Or what is that? You know, some kooky civilian just trying to get a good view, a better view. But no, not buying that. Good guys don't lay down, okay? You saw the other teams. They were standing up. They were very obvious. Very obvious. You don't hide down. The other thing I've got a series of photographs. That film we saw where the guy said, look, there he is on the roof, and the leaves were in the way a little bit, and everybody was talking, you could hear him talk, and he zoomed in, and you saw him doing a little porpoise jumping around. I think the roof was hotter than he expected. But anyway, then he started his, air quotes, bear crawl, but it's really, belly crawl, elbow crawl. But you notice it stops. You don't see it. Anything after they get a shot of his face and the camera panning around, and that's all we got. Well, I got another piece of footage, which is somebody at a very similar vantage point. Maybe the same video showing the person expired, and he was laying in the same spot about halfway up the roof. I don't understand that. I've got pictures, aerial pictures that show the SWAT team on the roof. I got a picture showing the SWAT team picking his arm up while he's laying in the same spot and you hear somebody's voice say, yeah, he's DEAD. And he's up there by himself. Not blurred out, but you can't see any gore, but you see the entire figure head to toe laying in the same spot he was in before we saw any shots fired. He only looked to be about halfway up that sloped roof. So I'm wondering how did he get over the peak of the roof with the GUN? Would he shoot through the roof? I know. I'll show it to you the next time I do a video, a picture show. So anyway, with all this stuff, then we're finding out about his Snapchat and Signal encryption usage and his past connections, and the fact that they lied right from the start. He wasn't a real Republican. His parents were, but that doesn't mean he was. I want y'all to think about something else on top of this stuff. We all noticed the second this happened. I've seen videos where people were in restaurants, people were in other public places, and were saying, cut the news on, cut the news on. Trump has been shot. No, we're not cutting TV on. No, we're not. Like a coordinated shutdown. And from the second it happened, every mainstream media, name it, CNN, MSNBC, on down the line, were using the same minimalist talk, a loud noise, made Trump leave. Trump fell on the stage. From the very second it happened, coordinated minimalization of a historic event. Let me just, in case there is anybody that's related to somebody that works for news services, or, I know there's people that watch. It's their job to watch. Kooks like me, right? If there was a counter narrative already out there, because there's no way they all sang the same song within 10 seconds of the incident without coordination. Do you guys agree with me? What if there's documented evidence of coordination of what the unified message would be if the attempt was successful? If they had time to get a coordinated message out to everybody, so all the anchors within minutes are singing the same song of misrepresenting what happened to Trump, what are the chances that there is a canned narrative somewhere that everybody got if this would have been successful? What does that mean? That's just like Building 7 falling 20 minutes after it was reported. The same thing you can deduce is that people knew this was coming. And if those communications get intercepted and people see that somebody knew, and that these major news services knew before it ever happened that it was going to happen. All they got to do is find out who was putting that stuff out there, and then start putting some heat on them. When do birds sing? But you tie that in, because the business with them all saying minimal things, that it was a BB gun, a piece of glass, all that kind of crap, tells me that we got one source coordinating and running all of our major news networks. That's all I need to know. But you add on top of that, if there's a narrative floating around, just like when we saw Fox News put up Ruth Bader Ginsburg's obituary, you think they were the only ones that had that story in the can? But the powers that be weren't ready to let it out yet. Well, yeah, Melinda, they don't want him in office because he'll get the information very quickly. He's going to let it. He's already got it. They have it all. They have it all. And I'd like to know when all that military brass came down to see Trump the night it happened. People got to stepping because it was a screw up. They didn't think they'd be that damn brazen. But how brazen can you get? See, they're so used to lying. Here's the truth. Lie. And people buying it, that they figured what would get out of this one too, but they're not going to now. People love a mystery. People love heroes. People root for the underdog. Most people have compassion. Not like the creepos we see on TV. Most Americans want to lift people up, not stamp them down. And people want to know the truth. They'll go along with stories, and they're worried about getting on with their lives. They're worried about making money and making their house payments, and all the stress and worry. Every 6 months, you got to report to some commissar, local commissar, and pay your rent on your home if you own one. Every year, when you write down something on a tax form, you wonder, oh my God, if I get this wrong, can they take everything from me? Can they put me in jail? People are getting sick of that crap. It's not the way we're supposed to live. They've got ultimate control, and people are starting to feel it. Google account, how you doing? Yeah, we see the panic in their eyes and their voices. But anyway, Joe's gone from screaming and yelling, making absolute defiant comments. I am not going anywhere. If the good Lord himself came down and said, I'd think about it if he came down. Going from that to, last I heard, do you think Kamala could handle the campaign? And he's open. They say he's open now. So they got to have somebody in mind. Now, they tried to have the Democrat convention next week. I mentioned that last night. Now, they put that on hold. And they're going to wait till August. Biden team tried to cram the convention through early next week. That's been the kibosh is put on that. And when you got the likes of Adam Schiff turning on you, Nancy Pelosi getting all spongy on you, Hillary getting all spongy on you, what are you going to do? You got to go. What are they going to do? Oh, Melinda said he'll flatline tonight. Well, did you see his security, Marcel? Did you see his security at the convention? He must have had 10 guys. I mean, every one of them 6'2", 6 feet, 6'4". I mean, big, serious-looking guys around him like an army. And when he went up the steps, they made sure they stayed a specific distance behind. When Trump stopped walking, they stopped walking. When Trump started walking, they started walking. I mean, disciplined, okay? According to protocol, not the bumbalinas that we saw. So who do you all think? Everybody can agree that Joe is a matter of time. He's a matter of time. He's days. He's days. Sometime this week. They would preferably do it tomorrow to take the spotlight off of Trump in the moment of his triumph. Now, something happened. I'm not saying I'm hoping it will, but I'm saying if is the biggest word in the English language. There are only 2 letters. If something happened to Carter tonight or in the morning or something like that, they might keep playing cards. But Joe's got to go. And so who is it going to be? How long, if there is a problem, a constitutional problem concerning Kamala Harris, that she's eligible to be vice president, but ineligible to be president, because they already floated getting Obama in as vice president because there's no term limits on vice president. Think it might be Obama? Ronald says it's going to be Monday. Monday, they're going to let Trump have his big night tomorrow. I don't know. If they could take his moment away, they'll do it. And there's more ways than Biden announcing he's not going to run to take away Trump's moment. Tomorrow is going to be very, very tense. I mean, if I was in charge of overall security, it would be very tense for me. It's very tense for me now, and I'm a little old man sitting out in the mountain somewhere. I want to ask you all, did anybody notice on that video I played yesterday where they had 3 different screens? It was a video from the Gateway Pundit. Right after the first shots were fired, watch it. I believe it was the upper left-hand screen. Showed exactly what that young reporter, I played his report, where a half an hour after the event, he gave an account, and he was saying that the assassin was in the bleachers and got tackled by security. And I was using that as an example because he was standing right in front of Trump. He was a reporter. He watched everything go down. Eyewitness got it totally wrong, but he was a totally honest witness. How he got upset and scrambled up in his mind. That wasn't the assailant. That was Corey. So anyway, but he did mention he thought there was some kind of water pipe in the big jumbotron because it started spraying water, gushing water. He said, you can watch it in my past videos. And I had a guy in the chat saying, "You don't know what you're talking about." What the hell? I'm just describing the same thing that we saw on the screen. I forget that guy's name, but he's history. But anyway, in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, right after the shooting, you can see water spraying out of the back of one of the monitors like a fire hose. That was a protective measure. Dan Bongino gave out a little too much about protective stuff. And I showed a diagram where there may have been return fire. I know it was what they considered to be the assassin shot in reddish toward Trump. But believe me, underneath that stage, there's people, okay? And they have the business end ready. You can't have Trump giving a speech to a big crowd and people standing beside him in the open, pointing the business end of a rifle at people and looking through the scope for troublemakers. People would not pay attention to the speech. They'd be very upset and they wouldn't have it. But that's the only way you can have a quick response. If somebody jumps up in the crowd and starts doing something, you can't have people in suits saying, "Wait a minute, let me find my pistol and let me try to respond." No, you got to have people with trained weapons in a ready position, a fire position, looking through scopes. And it's really not good to let that kind of stuff get out where they position people, because you just don't do that. But believe me, they got little hidey holes and places where people don't even know they're being eyed up. And if you're not suspicious looking, and no big deal, they sweep the scope around with the business end of the barrel around looking for problems, and they're always ready. So anyway, the water gushing out of the TV was a countermeasure, and they have more countermeasures. But the bunch they had Saturday, how many countermeasures did they drop the ball on purpose? It's starting to come out in more news agencies that there's evidence showing they were willfully allowing a situation to exist where Trump would lose his life. And they knowingly did it. If there's communications that come out affirming that, if there's communications that come out to news agencies giving a narrative about Trump actually being critically hurt or worse, I think we're going to see some kind of action, big action. We can't act like it didn't happen. We can't act like they'll do better next time. We can't accept, "Oh, he just got shot a little bit." We can't accept that. So I look for this Secret Service person to resign. It's a necessity. Too many stories to confuse us. Yeah, that's right. Joker, how you doing? Yeah, wheelchair ramp. Wheelchair steeper than that. Split shot. How you doing? Yeah, Biden's. They're just thinking of the best timing for him to go. Veterans are most human Democrat. Yeah. At least he's, all the jokes they made about his stroke and his brain and stuff. I was going to say, at least he's keeps an open mind. I don't mean that in any way to make fun of his stroke or anything, but he is somebody you could have a beer with and, rationally put stuff back and forth. Hydraulic fluid. Well, that's a lot of fluid. I used to run heavy equipment and get a hole in a line, and it would spray out. But man, I ain't never seen a piece of equipment. I would lift. I had a hydraulic lift. I could lift 60-foot boats out of the water. I mean, just tremendous ships, and it didn't have that kind of. I'm trying to think of the size of the hydraulic fluid tank. Was about the size of a. Let's see, how much was it? It was 10 gallons. It would hold. It would hold 10 gallons. I don't know. That was a lot. That was a lot coming out of there. Take a look at it again. It's about the 32-minute mark, last night's broadcast. That's right, Angela. DEI equals DIE. Well, Raven's Wings, I think the news is starting to tell the truth more because they're being made to because of the Truth and Reconciliation Act. And the fact that they're getting caught in so many lies and looking so ridiculous. And was it a Fox News host told MSNBC, a Fox News guest was talking about MSNBC. I think it was not Scar. It was CNN. I forget the name of the reporter. Was making fun of the Trump assassination thing, and the Fox News guest said, "Hey, you," and he mentioned the guy's name. He said, "Go to hell. We're tired of hearing your garbage." So when you got one show telling the other show to go to hell, I'm coming up on my hour. Now what they're saying is the latter story isn't true. I've heard that he got up on an air conditioner unit. Now, this all seems like small stuff. The ladder he bought at Home Depot has never been found. They have video of him buying it at 9 o'clock in the morning. The ladder they have a picture of, they're saying wasn't there. Somebody, the SWAT teams or whoever put it there after the fact, that he didn't use the ladder you see in the pictures. And then eyewitnesses are saying he jumped up on an air conditioner unit, got onto a low connecting roof, and went from the low connecting roof onto the roof we saw him on. So I can tell my notifications have been smothered because probably because I got a warning about that comment I left, I told you all about. But the bottom line is, folks, that the party's over. The Democrat Party, the New World, Order Party, it's all coming to an end, and they see it coming. I don't see any guesses on who is going to be helping Kamala replace Joe. It ain't going to be Michelle. Can't it be two women running, and that doesn't help balance the attraction of different voters. You know, they have to have a man and a woman. Yeah, Sherry, the police officer. They said the police officer climbed the ladder. I heard other news agencies say that he was on the shoulders of another cop, poked his head above the roof line, pulling himself up with his hands, got pointed at, and then jumped down. That he was on being helped up by another police officer. He did not go up a ladder. That's what I'm hearing now. Newscommy, Gavin Newscomb, Schumer and Jeffries, Roland says. All right, well, we'll see if that comes true. Yeah. Most of them are married to dudes, Jerry. It's weird. Just like I was saying in one of my shows a long time ago. You look at all these news anchors. Jim Acosta, he's got sugar in his gas tank. Wolf Blitzer, I didn't know that he was married to a man, but he was picking on, what's her name? Is it Connie or what is her name? She used to work at the Trump administration and having trouble with her husband, Conway. George Conway was her husband. And he started questioning her about her husband, George Conway. And she said, I don't ask you about the man you're married to. And Wolf Blitzer shut right up. She gave it up. Most people that watched the CNN had no idea. Wolf Blitzer had sugar in his gas tank. So you got Jim Acosta, Wolf Blitzer, Shepard Smith from Fox News, Anderson Cooper. I mean, I'm just talking off the top of my head, but I'm saying all these major news anchors, Don Lemon, all the major news anchors. Wait a minute, I thought they were like 5 or 10% of the population at the most, but they're 90% of the news? So anyway, that's what Joe does. So anyway, I don't know. I'm getting to be like Joe. So anyway. I'm just looking through the chat. Yeah, split chat. He's married to a guy. Kellyanne Conway. That's her name. She called him out. When George Conway was picking on her, her husband, George Conway, was making public statements about her and Trump. And then Wolf Blitzer said, well, your husband says this. How are you going to mend fences with your husband, or whatever his question was? And she said, look, I don't put you on the spot about your relationship with your husband. I understand. I'm sorry. Oh, Wolfie. All right. I know you would, Ravens. Thank you. So anyway, folks, if Mr. T goes real late tomorrow night, I won't be going live, and that's why I went live tonight. I don't usually do Wednesdays, but watch for the intimations that members of the government, the current administration, there's going to be hints and intimations that they were involved knowingly in this plot. Okay? That's going to be big. And keep in mind that we know stuff's going to go haywire. We know power's going to go out. We know the internet's going to go down. Prepare for it. Don't lose your mind over it. We knew deep in our hearts that they were going to make a move on Trump, that his life was in danger. It still is. Stay on guard. Don't let them get our goat or respond in any way. Even me, I went too far with a comment. I'm not even going to give him that satisfaction, much less do anything in public or physically or verbally or anything like that. So the other thing that we know is the only way is the military, and I think one of the things they mean when they say that, the only way is the military, the only way to have a clean, honest election is that the military oversee it, the military to conduct and supervise the election. And I think events are going to go in such a way as to activate the military, not to go out and arrest people, not to go out and bang on people's doors or anything like that. They're going to be there to help. Just like after hurricanes, they help with MREs, okay? They help with rescue missions. They will assist. When there's, maybe it'll be a cyber disaster that you can't use a computer. We're going to have the elections on time with the help of the U.S. military. We'll be hearing it over the emergency broadcast system. Worry not, folks. Worry not. They're going to help count the ballots and make sure everybody's safe. Wouldn't that be much better than have strife in the streets? All right, folks. I appreciate y'all spending your precious time with me. I hope you have a great evening. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. If you're not subscribed, why don't you go ahead and jump in? The water's fine. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.